Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And now I'm going to continue with 10.2 Underwriting for General and Family Takaful. I will go first on underwriting for this particular videos. What is the definition and the purpose of underwriting? Takaful underwriting is the process of classification, rating, and selection of risk. In simpler words, it is a risk selection process. Underwriting is the process or the art of evaluating, the art of selecting, the art of identifying what kind of risk, what kind of risk they are exposed to. Okay, before the takaful operators can take the risk, they need to identify whether the risk is high, whether the risk is low. If low is okay. If the risk is high, they might be considered to decline or to reject the risk. So underwriting, this is underwriting. Okay, bukan tulis bawah meja. No, underwriting is the process of evaluating, assessing, selecting risk by giving, and then they will consider what will be the premium to be charged, what are terms and conditions. Okay, a hazard is a condition that increase the chances. We have learned this under chapter 1, guys. Hazard. Okay, hazard can be classified in more ways: physical hazard, moral hazard, and moral hazard. Still remember? Okay. And the primary purpose of underwriting is to analyze the risk, to evaluate the types of exposure of each risk, and to establish a contribution for those risks that being taken. Like I mentioned earlier, why underwriting? Okay, now we talk about the purpose of underwriting. Why underwriting is important? First, the growth and success of the takaful business largely depends on the underwriting and activities. Unfavorable underwriting results may seriously affect the company profitability. Maknanya, if the company choose wrong risk, wrong business, it will affect to their business. It will become a domino effect. Okay, contohnya satu syarikat takaful ambil risk yang sangat besar yang diorang tak nampak pun risk tu besar. End up they do not have the ability to pay back on the claims dan menjadikan kerugian kepada company. So underwriting department, underwriters is most important. I should say they are the important person in the company. It will lead to the company profitabilities as well as the company growth and success. Alright, now you understand why underwriting is important: to analyze the risk, to identify, to classify the risk, whether the risk is moderate, high or low. Sebab kalau tersalah pilih, risiko ni membebankan syarikat takaful. Alright. Now we go to 10.3, General Takaful Underwriting. General Takaful dengan Family Takaful, the underwriting is not the same but more or less the same. How it can be like this? Okay, macam ni lah. General Takaful is meant for your asset, for your property. Family Takaful is meant for your life, for your bodies and so on. So the underwriting activities, the underwriting concept will be much different. We look on general takaful business process underwriting under general. Okay. First, we look at the proposed risk. How can we identify the risk? There are so many tools that we can use in order to identify or evaluate or assess the risk by look at the proposal form, proposal and declaration form. Alright, the document will integrate ataupun will give a rough information with regards to the client's punya risk. Contohnya, the risk survey yang dibuat oleh surveyors towards the building supaya underwriter lebih faham risk yang ada. Kedua, the floor plan, firefighting appliances and so on. This is a rough ideas on how a proposal form can help the underwriters in assessing or identify the risk under general takaful. Yang kedua, risk selection process. It consists of evaluating information and resources to determine how individual will be classified, whether they are on standard risk, whether they are on substandard or decline risk. What are the difference between standard and substandard? Standard risk meaning that the risks are not that high compared to those being a risk should be declined. So decline risk ni a risk which is very hazardous, sangat berbahaya pada company. So they will tend to decline the risk. Substandard is the risk is can be compromised to be taken, but of course with extra premium. Okay, so risk selection process, this is how Takaful underwriters will look on the, and the importance is underwriters can identify this by look at the information under the proposal form as well as the surveyor punya report. So sangat-sangat penting. Kalau klien tipu, so company susah nak buat judgement. That's why when there is a fraud claim, company will tend to reject the claim. Sekarang ni rasa you boleh mengolah dan fahamkan lah macam mana underwriting ni. Alright. The following are some factors that may reveal physical hazard. Ni contoh-contoh physical hazard ataupun information that can help the underwriters in evaluating the risk. Macam mana underwriter syarikat Takaful ni, the underwriters of the Takaful operators assess the risk. Dalam fire Takaful, types of construction. Construction ni dah berapa tahun? Height of the building, ketinggian building. Nature of flooring, types of occupancy. Bangunan tu digunakan untuk apa? Untuk disco ke? Ataupun untuk buat pelaburan sebagai bank ke? Macam mana? Contoh, the occupancy of risk. Kilang punya risk dengan risk yang untuk kerja pejabat sangat berbeza. Yang mana lebih berisiko? So these are the things, types of occupancies, the nature of goods that will be looked by the underwriters. Because every single information, every single physical hazard, moral hazard or moral hazard should be taken into account, because the company, the underwriters want to ensure that during these underwriting activities, there's no such negligence, there's no such mistake being made, because it will lead to the company profitability. Alright. Now, number 3, we look on the rating mechanism. As the underwriters, dalam rating mechanism ni dia ada personal judgment rating, schedule rating and tariff rating. Okay, personal judgment rating ni by observations, by the experience of the underwriter itself, meaning that the underwriter are solely depends on their experience, they are solely depends on their knowledge that they have. In other words, the underwriters are using their intuition, rasa gerak hati. Yang ni rasanya boleh ikut dia ambil, macam tu. Yang kedua, schedule rating. Schedule rating is following the Bank Negara punya standard rating. Okay. And yang ketiga adalah tariff rating. Tariff rating ni juga dalam Bank Negara, tapi tariff ni dia adalah regulated, which is standardized. Maknanya underwriter tengok pada satu buku tarif. Kalau bangunan tu 7 tingkat, berapa harga dia? Kalau bangunan dia 5 tingkat, berapa harga dia? That is tariff rating. Okay, you can just rate this. It is not that important. But now, number 4, tariff. Tariff is fixed price list that determine the premium rate. Which Takaful operator can charge consumer for Takaful products sold by them. Example, the policy that widely used is motor and fire Takaful. But nowadays, motor Takaful has been de-tariff, so only fire Takaful, which is still maintained. De-tariff tu nanti I discuss dengan you sekejap lagi. Okay. So, tariff are set fixed price list created under Takaful Act to streamline and control premium charges. Why there is a tariff? Because during those days, pada tahun 80-an, 90-an, the industry, the Bank Negara do not want any Takaful operators to manipulate the market. Meaning that there are some company which is very strong and vast experience in underwriting. Sebabkan duit banyak, diorang berani buka harga yang murah. Yang ni dia ada jadi manipulating. So in order to control the price ataupun the premium, what bank negara do is set a tariff towards motor and also fire, Takaful. In other words, government sebenarnya sayangkan rakyat lah, sebab dia tak nak burden the citizen of Malaysia. Okay, alright. Now, liberalisation of motor tariff. Consumer will now be able to enjoy a wider choice of motor. Macam saya cakap tadi, pada tahun awal-awalnya, motor Takaful is following the tariff, which means syarikat A, B, C, and D, harga macam mana pun tetap sama sebab harga dia berpandukan kepada tarif. But starting from July 2017, okay, starting from July 2017, page 1 to 3, premium rates for motor comprehensive and motor third-party fire and theft will be liberalised, where premium pricing will be determined individually by the Takaful operators. Meaning that, start daripada Julai 2017, Takaful operators have the authority to place the premium based on their judgment, no longer subjected to the tariff which is enacted by bank negara. Meaning that daripada 2017 tu lah, sebab tu lah competition tu lebih terbuka lah. Ada company yang sanggup buang harga, maksudnya dia bagi harga yang murah, coverage yang sangat baik. So this is good somehow to the industry. Okay, liberalizations. And underwriting limits. Yang ni you boleh baca sendiri. Alright. Now, shall we move straight to the family Takaful underwriting? Tadi yang saya cerita awal, the topic that we have discussed earlier is on general Takaful underwriting. How the underwriters assess on fire Takaful, on the ratings, on the tariff, on the information and so on. Now, we go to family Takaful underwriting. The perspective will be different, of course, because we are looking at person's life, person disability on family Takaful, and we are looking at the asset subject to availabilities on the general Takaful. The purpose of underwriting, again, classification, rating and selection. Tapi apa gunanya, dalam family Takaful underwriting, apa information yang boleh guna pakai? Sama juga, proposal form. Sebab apa? Proposal form were used to elicit information, untuk dapatkan information with regard to participant risk. So, it seek basic information of the proposal include name, age, address, education and employment. Yang ni semua adalah benda-benda yang simple. Tapi contohnya lah, macam medical history, the occupations of the participant. This will lead to a different premium. Kenapa? Orang yang bekerja sebagai guru berbanding dengan orang yang bekerja dalam sektor offshore contohnya. The degree of risk is different. So the underwriting will be much vary. And of course the premium charge will be different. So proposal form ni penting tak? Sekarang ni faham Alright. Number 2 is the anti-selection. What is anti-selection? One of the greatest threat facing life or health family Takaful is anti-selection, which also called as adverse selection or negative selection. Anti-selection occurs when underwriting information deficit allow a higher group such as smoker to purchase life or health family Takaful at the same price as a lower risk group, which is the non-smoker. The adverse impact on the Takaful operators when risks are selected that have a higher chance of loss than that they contemplated by the applicable Takaful rate. Yang panjang-panjang ni, those under page 1 to 5 anti-selection, you can read, please read and please digest. But to simplify, what is anti-selection is the underwriters terpaksa mengambil risiko yang bukan mereka nak, which is unfavorable to them. Contoh macam dalam buku yang saya berikan lah. Dalam satu premium rates for smoker and non-smoker, kalau Takaful kenakan charge yang tinggi for the non-smoker sebab dia nak sama, it is not fair. Dia nak charge yang tinggi pada smoker, it is not fair to the non-smoker. So dia menjadi risk adverse selection. In other words, dia punya contradict effect is Takaful tak dapat business. So this is the biggest threat under family Takaful underwriting lah. Okay, sebab nak cari orang yang sihat saja tertibi, tapi orang yang sakit tak boleh. Tapi nanti menjadikan masalah sebab dia tak dapat business lah. Underwriting, kalau dia nak reject semua risk, tak adalah business. So terpaksa. So this is the biggest threat under underwriting, anti-selection. Hopefully you will understand under page 1 to 5. Okay, this is important, anti-selection. Now we move to 10.4.4, the risk selection process. Underwriting is the method to evaluate the current eligibility of proposal to be accepted as a participant. In the case of life and health family Takaful, underwriter consider the following risk selection. Risk selection process, very important. Okay, current and past health, meaning that what are the selection or the criteria being taken of the life underwriters, life and health underwriters when selecting the risk. Kalau dia nak pilih satu-satu klien tu, apa yang dia buat? Number 1, current and past health factors. The conditions of the patient. Current and past health factors. Okay. Number 2, the financial factors. The underwriter will also look in the proposal of the financial situation, because sometimes the financial positions of the participant will lead to ataupun will affect the judgment of the underwritings. Number 3 is the family history. Why? Family history suffered with heart attack, families diabetic problems, gout, with those chronic disease. Okay, this will be taken into account when assessing ataupun when doing the underwriting, when assess and selecting the risk. Alright. Next, occupational factors. Like I mentioned earlier, seorang guru dengan orang kerja offshore, dia punya degree of risk, the hazard is different, and therefore it is part of the underwriting criteria to be taken dari segi pekerjaan yang digunakan. Number, kenapa dah terbalik-terbalik ni? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, age and gender, umur seseorang, dan juga jantina. It is said that a woman live longer than a man. Why? Because woman always nagging. Contohnya lah, okay. Dan umur panjang sebab macam saya cakap tadi lah. So age and gender it also taken into consideration when doing the life and health underwriting. And last but not least is the occupation and hobbies. So hobi, kalau setakat main batu seremban, tak ada apa-apa, tak ada masalah. Tapi kalau hobi suka lompat sini lompat sana, macam kura-kura melompat ke, maksud saya kalau contohlah ada hobi yang berbahaya, cabut ekor ekor beruang ke. So hobi-hobi yang macam ni, Takaful operator memang tak nak. Alright, so occupation and hobbies also taken into consideration when doing the underwriting. Sources of underwriting component and process. Number 1, okay, another topic yang saya rasa ini antara yang famous being asked lah in the past final question. Family, the sources of underwriting component and process. Macam mana medical underwriters, life and health underwriters nak dapat tahu details information. Dia tak boleh sewenang-wenangnya, or in other words, they cannot simply reject or decline the risk, or else they will not make a business. So what are the component and process to be taken by the underwriters in order to assess or do the underwriting towards the upward limits yang diorang boleh buat? Number 1, family Takaful application. Dalam erti lain, diorang tengok pada proposal form, the general information, address, medical. Dalam proposal form ni macam-macam soalan, there are so many question. And there is a lot of information that can be taken by the underwriters. They can assess the age, the gender, the health conditions. Okay. Number 2, agent statement. This statement is part of the application required the Takaful agent provide certain information regarding with the proposal. Agent report or agent statement is important because Takaful underwriters are not meet the participant directly. Dia tak jumpa depan-depan. Yang jumpa depan agent, sebab agent ni adalah orang yang buat sales, membuat jualan. So agent ni orang yang jumpa dan kenal, mungkin kenal sikit lah klien. So agent statement report is part of the information that helps the underwriters in assessing ataupun evaluating the risk. The third one, the medical report. This is normal. When one person, contoh, bila orang yang ada sakit dan sebagainya, Takaful dia takkan simply reject. But what they do, they will ask the participant to undergo a medical check-up. So from the medical report, will help the underwriters in assessing whether to continue or to reject the risk. Okay? Alright. Number 4, attending physician statement. Attending physician statement ni samalah, ni doktor punya report. Okay, doktor mengesahkan pesakit A tak ada sakit dan sebagainya, and therefore you can submit the Takaful plan and to be signed up under the Takaful plan. Simple. Alright, and last but not least, hospital medical report. Sama lah macam yang tadi, medical report, attending physician. This is, every single thing is interrelated. Underwriting decision 10.4.6. Each Takaful operators has their own underwriting guideline. Of course, company A, B tak sama. Contoh macam saya cakap kan, saya pernah approach one company, Takaful operators, and they reject because I am considered to be having high risk. But another company tend to accept but to charge a higher premium. So this is where standard, substandard and decline to explain it much better. Standard risk, if the proposal considered an average and typical risk. Maknanya standard risk ni yang biasa saja, yang mana dia tak ada sakit dan sebagainya. So it will be accepted based on the pre-agreed premium. Substandard or modified, proposal post an above average risk. Contohnya dia mungkin ada penyakit tapi penyakit dia tak adalah berbahaya sangat. So company ambil dan kenakan charge yang lebih mahal. Yang ketiga, yang ni paling susah lah. Yang ni yang saya alami sekarang. Decline. Most of my applications has been rejected because I've been told by the medical report and so on, bukan medical report, by the standard underwritings, I am having, ataupun I ni dikirakan sebagai berisiko tinggi lah. So what can I do? Menyimpan untuk pembelanjaan perubatan. Tapi ini tak ada kena-mena dengan underwriting. Underwriting decision ada 3, standard, substandard and decline. Standard risk whereby the Takaful underwriter accept the application as per standard risk. Substandard, Takaful might opted to accept or might opted to reject. Dia accept tapi dia akan charge yang lebih mahal. Decline, they strictly reject the application. Okay. Last but not least, 10.4.7, issuing a certificate. Exclusion, endorsement, contribution loading, renewal. Okay, untuk yang ni saya lebih suka tengok kepada 10.4.7, the renewal of medical health and Takaful, page 131. Okay, my tips is please please read on this subtopic, the 4 different renewability option. Okay, number 1, non-cancelable and guaranteed renewable. Apa beza dia? Dia ada 4 dekat sini. Non-cancelable and guaranteed renewable, conditionally renewable and optionally renewable. Apa yang dia nak ceritakan adalah 4 jenis polisi yang boleh diperbaharui. Ini semua adalah wording lah. Okay. Number 1, non-cancelable. Medical, health and Takaful plan with guaranteed renewable provide the greatest amount of protection to the participant, which is there are two important guarantees. The contribution will not be increased. Number 2, the Takaful operator will not refuse to renew the coverage. Bila ada wording renewability option lah, kita beli sometimes family Takaful, there are some product which is you boleh beli untuk banyak tahun, tapi ada produk yang perlu diperbarui, you need to renew each and every year. So the renewable punya option ataupun clause, dia ada 4 ni. So yang pertama ni yang paling comprehensive, whereby daripada from the day first you sign up with Takaful operators, dia tak akan berubah sepanjang tahun, sepanjang umur hidup you. Maknanya it is non-cancelable and guaranteed renewable, dijanjikan untuk diperbarui, dan tak ada apa-apa premium dinaikkan, dan juga tak ada apa-apa perubahan dari segi coverage. Okay. Number 2, guaranteed renewable. The fundamental difference between the first, which is non-cancelable and guaranteed renewable, is the coverage is guaranteed, lies in the Takaful rights to change the coverage. Okay. Kalau non-cancelable, dia tak boleh nak cancel. Kalau guaranteed ni, dia masih boleh ubah lagi. Okay, nampak? This is all law punya terms. Okay. Number 3, conditionally renewable. The third types of renewability provision known as conditionally renewable. The conditionally renewable provision give the certificate owner a conditional rights to renew the certificates, but the Takaful operator retain the right. Sama aja cerita dia. Okay, maknanya conditional right, contoh ni macam nak bagi right sikit lah dekat participant untuk renew, but at the end of the day, Takaful operators have the rights to cancel or to renew. Alright. Number 4, optionally renewable. The fourth and final types of renew optional, which is the least security lah, meaning that Takaful operator can cancel at any time. So out of 4 renewability option that we have discussed, of course, number 1, non-cancelable and guaranteed, is the most safest, that can safeguards the coverage that you have taken from day 1. Hopefully you understand on this. Okay, payment of contribution, normally it depends on the type of certificates, but there are some terms of cash before cover. You kena bayar dulu baru dapat perlindungan. Dan ada juga certificate yang beri you grace period. Grace period ni adalah satu tempoh yang mana you will be protected as long as the payment being made within the grace periods. Okay, guys. So we have finished on the underwritings. Anything obstacles ataupun apa-apa yang tak faham lah, difficulties and so on, you can raise up, you can type, you can share in Google Classroom as well as our Padlets later. Okay, so thank you. This is all about underwriting for family in general, Takaful. So, Assalamualaikum.